Before the opening weekend of Predator Badlands, it was projected to bring in $60 million during its premiere, and I made a video at the time talking about it, saying that if that's the case, then the movie's likely going to be a box office flop, given that it cost $100 million to make, and $60 million opening is not a really good number for it. But fast forward, and it looks like the movie actually outperformed expectations and brought in $80 million during its opening weekend. 40 million of that coming from domestic audiences, 40 million of that coming from international audiences. So that's not necessarily a bad start for the movie, but it may or may not be enough to be profitable. Just depends on how audiences are going to react to this movie. But before I really dive into the nitty gritty of this, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you can, leave a comment, tell me what you think about it, and also hit the like button too, or even the dislike button, because either way it helps out with the channel. Predator Badlands sets franchise record with $40 million debut, snapping box office cold streak. And it's talking about the box office cold streak of basically just theaters. October of this year was the worst year or the worst October in decades, if you're not counting the pandemic year, but that's another thing entirely. Predator Badlands is this weekend's apex predator at the box office, collecting a better than expected $40 million in its domestic debut. Those ticket sales were enough to cement a franchise record, overtaking 2004's Alien vs. Predator, $38 million, not adjusted for inflation, as the biggest opening weekend in the long-running property. The sci-fi series ignited with the 1987's Predator starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and extended over the years with sequels, reboots, and Alien crossover films. Now, this is something that, again, it's $40 million opening weekend domestically. It is a franchise record. I'm not trying to take anything away from that. But when you're comparing it to Alien vs. Predator, which came out in 2004, not adjusted for inflation, I mean, is that really such a high watermark for it when you're saying that it was able to make $2 million more than a movie that came out 21 years ago? I mean, again, I'm not trying to take anything away from Predator Badlands. It is a franchise best, but when you adjust for inflation for Alien vs. Predator, I mean, that movie brought in, it's like around $65 million or so domestically. So, I mean, it's still, Predator Badlands did fine on its own, but it may not necessarily be oh, this is just such a success. I mean, just look at it. It outperformed the expectations. It's the franchise best. It's like none of the movies in the Predator franchise have really been box office juggernauts, and that might be a problem for this one, but I'm going to get more on that in a little bit. See, Predator Badlands shows how unpredictable and dynamic the marketplace can be. All it takes is one overperformance to get the industry back on track. I think it's a little too early to say that that things are back on track. This was a good opening weekend for it, and again, this was a good opening weekend, or at least it wasn't as bad as what it could have been. Because, like I was said at the start of the video, if it was a $60 million opening weekend, that would have been pretty bad for it. $80 million. It's better. It's showing it's a good sign for it, but it's not necessarily meaning that this movie's going to be a huge success for the studio, at least not at this point. Predator Badlands earned another $40 million at the international box office, bringing its total global total to $80 million. That's a promising start for a $105 million budgeted tentpole. It's also a return to form for Disney, which has struggled with recent theatrical releases such as Tron Ares, Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. Now through the end of the year, Disney is poised to dominate at the box office with Zootopia 2 and Avatar Fire and Ash. Okay, so $105 million was the budget for this movie. Let's just kind of reduce it down to $100 million just for simplicity's sake. Given that theaters take their cut of the ticket sales, there's also the marketing costs for this movie. This is something that likely needs to make around $250 million globally in order to break even at the box office. And that, mind you, is the bare minimum. Of course, when you're looking at international ticket sales, usually theaters take a little bit more than that 50% mark. Some places, if they're getting a lot of international numbers from China, then China takes around 80% of the box office revenue. So depending on where a lot of their screenings are happening overseas, they could need $300 million globally in order to break even if they're making more of their money overseas. But let's just say it's $250 million where everything is just, everything is just 50-50. $80 million, where does that stack up? Well, like I said, it's franchise best for it. But look at the other Predator franchises here and look at how much some of the top earners have actually made. So the top ones, Alien versus Predator, the one that they're talking about, that brought in $172 million globally during its theatrical run, 128 for AVP Requiem, 121 for Predators, or 127 for Predators, excuse me, 159 for the Predator. So you're getting the issue right here, don't you? This is a franchise that doesn't usually make a ton of money. I mean, they're popular and they're well known, but it's not like they're huge cash cows, which none of the movies have actually been able to crack that $200 million mark. Now, could Predator Badlands actually maintain profitability? Well, when they made the movie, they basically budgeted it in a way where this has to smash past any of the other Predators in the franchise in order to just break even, which I don't think that's necessarily a good position to be in. Now, is this opening weekend enough to actually break that $200 million mark and actually maintain, or $250 million mark in order to be profitable? I was looking at the last several Predator movies going back to AVP just to see like what could be expected from this. And if you look at the Predator during its opening weekend, 48% or 48.3% of their entire box office gross was made during that opening weekend. Now let's look at Predators. 47.6% of its entire box office gross was made during that opening weekend. AVP, 47.7% of its entire box office gross. So you're getting the idea of this, aren't you? Roughly half of their entire box office revenue is made during that opening weekend. So with that in mind, $80 million opening weekend for this, if you just doubled that, then that would mean that the movie is probably going to end up making around $160 million globally during its opening weekend. Now, it's possible that the movie will actually have a little bit more legs underneath it. Maybe it could bring it closer to that 30% mark, which that would be considered a decent box office hold for something like this, or an average box office hold. So if it was closer to that 30% mark of their entire revenue is made during the opening weekend for Predator Badlands, excuse me, then maybe the movie can actually reach that profitable mark on it. But if it just kind of follows the similar trajectory of the other Predator movies, then it's going to be one of those situations where the people who wanted to go watch the movie watch it during the opening weekend, and we'll see a steep drop off during the following weekends. A lot of this is just dependent on the audiences of what audiences are going to do. Are they going to go out, and is word of mouth going to be good enough for this movie to actually get people in theaters? Right now, you can look at Rotten Tomatoes and you can see the audience reaction to the movie is pretty solid. And I've actually seen on social media, just personally, there's people who are like, okay, there's seemed to be some good buzz around this movie, so maybe I will give it a shot. So that could be enough to actually give it a strong enough box office hold where people will give it a chance. Because if it is one of those situations where everyone who wanted to watch it watched it, and then they don't go back and watch it multiple times, or it's not enough word of mouth to get people to come back to theaters or give it a chance, then the movie, while it has a promising start, won't be enough to make it successful. But if it actually has this strong box office hold, then maybe it can actually reach that profitable mark. I'm not going to say it's going to blow past it. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case, but it could actually eke out a slight win for it at the box office. So let me know what you think is going to happen with this in the comment section below. Do you think that everything's good now because it exceeded expectations and it's going to continue from that? Do you think that there's not going to be anything else coming out like The Running Man this weekend? It's going to take away some of the box office draw from it? Or do you think the movie just is going to be kind of a flash in the pan where it has a strong start, but people just aren't interested in supporting the movie in theaters because they're just going to wait to watch it when it comes out on streaming in a month or so? Let me know what you think about this. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to hit the like button and share the video out there because it helps out with the channel. Thank you.